You did mention Juan Soto, and I know we only have you for a couple more minutes, so I do want to talk about this for sure. Now, a lot of the rumor mill has him going to obviously a bigger market team. The Yankees and the Mets are obviously always attached to every single rumor,
Right.
every single offseason, obviously.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if this is going to be as easy of a trade as people think it's going to be because of something you mentioned, which was the Boris situation. Because right now he's got a year left in his contract, if I'm not mistaken. You have to trade for and give up a bunch of farm pieces, and then also pending an extension. And so you have to do kind of two fronts at once if you're trading for Juan Soto, which is not the easiest thing in the world. So I'm not 100% confident he's gonna get traded, unless Boris was bluffing when he said San Diego intends on keeping him. Do you have any general thoughts on that? On
Mhm.
if you think it was a
Well,
bluff
on
or what the
yeah, on our screen here, there's 4
Mhm.
boxes. You and
Mhm.
your 2 partners and me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about the number of potential markets that could make a deal for Soto.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because you're going to have to trade a plethora of young prospects and maybe 1 or 2 established major leaguers to get Soto.
Mhm.
But B, you got to be in the marketplace, whether it's Yankee Stadium, Fenway Park,
Mhm.
maybe Dodger Stadium, maybe San Francisco. You got to be in the marketplace that can afford the kind of contract that it's going to be, which is 30 million to begin with, to escalating to 40 million and maybe some opt-out clauses along the way. So just like there's just 4 boxes here on this
Mhm.
podcast, there's probably only legitimately 4 or 5 teams that could take him on.
Mhm.
Now that doesn't mean that AJ Preller doesn't move him. Preller's statement at the general managers meetings was, "I will make an offer. I want to sign him. If we can't sign him, we will then move to the next box, which means we will take trade offers."
Hmm.
Now, my theory is you're charging these fans unbelievable amounts of money in a small market to go see Padre baseball. I would keep the guy. I'd see if he could drive you into the pennant race next year. To go
Mhm.
with Machado and to go with Bogarts and
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis and Hassan Kim. If he can drive you into the playoffs, then you keep him for 1 more season. Now, if you're faltering next year, you could still flip him. Maybe you won't get
Mhm.
as much. You could still flip him and you say goodbye to him, and therefore you've had 3 rentals with him. They traded for him 3 years ago with the idea he put him in 3 pennant races. He and his teammates have not yet really delivered on that. But there's just a limitation as to who's going to be interested, who can afford Soto. Nobody's going to trade him on 1 year rental. If the Yankees go get him or the Mets go get him, it will be because they're going to sign him. And again, that's big
Mhm.
market, big apple, so they can afford to sign him, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And by the way, just one other quick aside here. I do think the Yankees are actually a fairly natural trade partner with the Padres right now because you mentioned the scarcity of pitching. The Yankees actually do have several young pitchers. So like
Yeah.
I could see 2 starters going back to the Padres, obviously with other pieces as well, if that deal does get done. I mean, there's King, there's Schmidt, there's a guy, Drew Thorpe, in the minors as well. These are all guys who, if the Padres really just need warm bodies and got to shed that payroll, could be potential targets for the Padres.
Well, I'm
I
not
mean,
taking your phone
obviously.
call unless you're putting Gleyber Torres in that deal.
So you think Torres is part of it as well?
I think he has to be because they need
Yeah.
established
Yeah.
guys coming back.
Yeah.
They don't need some AAA guy at Scranton Wilkes-Barre. They need a couple of established guys and then a load of prospects to make it happen. They traded 6 players to get him out of Washington.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
the price would be obviously a
cool.
little lower now because he's only got a year left. But no, I think you're right. I think it would be Torres probably with 2 starters and then possibly another couple of lottery ticket prospects
Yeah.
on top of that.
I would do
And
that
then
deal. Yeah.
also on top of that as well, do you see there being potentially a salary dump involved as well? Like the Padres trying to package in like a Cronenworth or somebody else like that just to make the receiving team eat more money. Do you think it'd be
I
that kind
don't
of
think
trade or no?
no, I don't think the receiving teams want to take on guys with $10 million contracts hitting 230.
Yeah.
And Jake, as much as I like Jake, Jake's
Yeah.
had two down cycle offensive seasons, and I like
Yeah.
him, but I think that Major League Scouting reports have figured out where the holes in his game are, and he, as good as he is defensively, $10 million on a, I think they gave him an 8 year contract, another one of AJ's. Why'd you do that deal? They
Mhm.
gave him an extended contract, so that's That's where it is. I don't think anybody wants Cronenworth at that price. And, you know, again, it's hard for me to put in place what the pecking order is. Is it get a decision made on Soto first, or is it go in the marketplace and go get pitching? Because they need at least 2 starters. They have one starter in Darvish coming off elbow surgery. The second starter, Joe Musgrove, missed a third of the season with shoulder capsule surgery. Blake Snell is gone. I hear to St. Louis possibly, or San Francisco.
Wow.
But again, that's a Boris client, so who knows where that's going to end.
No, exactly.
Those are the top. Excuse me, top 3 starters. The next 3 starters all opted out of their contracts. They're all free agents, and they want $16 million apiece. And I just don't think the Padres can afford, with the budget cut coming, to pay starters 4, 5, and 6 $16 million apiece. And Josh Hader's vacated the premises too. So what was an exciting time in baseball has become a very uncertain time in San Diego baseball right now, just because of the roster makeup. But like I say, out here on the West Coast, we're dealing with fiasco in Anaheim, and then obviously waiting to see when the Dodgers drop anchor and start writing checks who they're going to get. Because the one thing I'll say about this, the Dodger way, it's pretty impressive. They got credentials, whereas a bunch of these other teams really don't.